NOAA's damage assessment that they're using. They're flying a plane around, taking pictures.
Yeah.
You got a chance to look at this. What have they found? What have you found?
Old Oregon Inlet Road, South Nags Head, just north of that area. And the body, yeah, so you're just outside the Body Island unit of Cape Hatteras National Seashore, those neighborhoods up there. I think that's where there was some concern that a house had fallen in, because if you look at some of the older satellite images, there's those, see those houses right there?
Yeah.
Those three right there? Okay. There were several more. If you look back at old Google Maps images, they're still there, but they were torn. There was one that was torn down last year, and I think that's where that discussion that got on X last night, in fact.
Which I can't find, by the way. The conversation seems to have disappeared.
It did disappear because we told them, hey, no, there's no houses that fell.
So Sam Walker fact check.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here for. But as you can see,
some of these houses are real close for whatever comes next.
They have no dune. Yeah, they have no dune. And that area has had 3 rounds of nourishment in the last 14 years.
What is nourishment?
So beach nourishment is you just go out there and take a big vacuum cleaner, stick it in the sand, and pump it onto the beach. That's it.
Okay.
Move it. Yeah, and it's offshore. They call them borrow areas. So these big dredges will go and park a half mile, a mile, 2 miles offshore, pump it in big pipes. They just blow it. It's water and sand, and it blows up there, and they use bulldozers to level it off. That sand also accretes down into the surf zone. So where all those waves are breaking in those images, that's the surf zone. As you put that sand, you want it to taper. And what that does is absorbs the wave energy as it comes up. So it's not beating against the dry sand beach and the dunes, which all those dunes are artificial dunes. Did you know that?
No. I'm going to put the link to this in the comments, by the way.
Yeah, put it.
Everybody wants to go play with it.
Right.
This is not satellite imagery. This is imagery that NOAA took from an airplane since Erin, like fresh, hot off the press.
Yeah, like the last, I think that they say they were still doing some of those missions. I have not seen the plane, but the dunes that all run along the Outer Banks and pretty much along everything from Cape Henry, Virginia, which is Virginia Beach at the mouth of the Chesapeake Bay, all the way down to I think South Carolina. That was all built in the 1920s by hand to put people to work during the Great Depression. Those are WPA. Those are, public works projects that were done. The dunes that you see on our ocean front. So yeah, that's just how some of the.
I like Jay's comment. Sam Walker might as well be our one-stop source for anything to do with the Outer Banks.
Jay, just hit me up anytime. I probably can answer it. Most likely I will, but I'll try anyway. But yeah, that's how we fared. I mean, that little point down there that is Cape Hatteras. That's where the most of that damage you have seen, almost most of it, is that area right there. I'm curious to see. Zoom on down there. Let's see what it looks like from the air, because that really will give you.
You want me to go north?
Oh, wow. So that's the first time I've had a chance to look at what's called Cape Point. That is the most popular, best known surf fishing spot on the East Coast, if not the world. And it is completely changed. Again, that's one of the places that changes so much. Remember the Shelly Island craze a couple of years ago when this little island popped up out in the middle of right offshore? That's where that area is, with Shelly Island. So you see those yellow lines. If I believe those yellow lines are previous shorelines from previous surveys they've done. Shows you how evolving that is. But what you're seeing is the convergence of the Gulf Stream and the Labrador Current. That's what creates Diamond Shoals. That's what creates Cape Hatteras, and that's what creates the graveyard of the Atlantic, is the convergence of those two currents. And that right there is the point, Cape Point of Cape Hatteras. That is why the fishing's so good there, but also why our coast is so dynamic. But just to the north, where the lighthouse is, you can see the lighthouse path move from this. That's really cool. But just north of that is where that old Navy base is.
Oh, gotcha. Because we're in the Buxton area here.
Yeah, and we're in Buxton. That's Old Lighthouse Road. That's the neighborhood where all the houses, the damage that we've seen. There's the motels where the DOT, come back now. No, you're going too far north. There is the Cape Hatteras Motel right there at the bottom of the screen. That's where the DOT has its camera. So all those images you see all the time, that is where the water is. And you can see look at the water pouring underneath it from that.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
That's 4 feet of sand in their parking lot, by the way.
Because I'm having a hard time telling the difference between beach and pavement.
Yeah, there isn't there. And so the Cape Hatteras Motel, the Outer Banks Motel, We call it just the motels. Everybody says we're going to the motels in Buxton. That's what we talk about. So you can see where the sand pushed over into trying to get to the sound. There's a little
Yeah.
canal, by the way. You see there. But anyway, see how all this, yeah.
Are
See
these
the
sandbags?
those are sandbags. When we talk about
Okay.
sandbags, we're not talking, like I said, the little ones you fill up with
Oh,
a
these are big.
shovel. Yeah, they're massive. They're 12, as big as a car in some cases,
Yeah.
and as big as a tractor trailer in some cases. So you can see the ocean
Look at all
just
that.
washing up underneath there. Daniel Pullen, who is a lifelong Hatteras Island resident, Buxton resident, acclaimed photographer, he's got photos. Which storm was it? He has this great photo that was in the New York Times that showed a pool table, waves breaking on a pool table. That's the area where that photo was taken.
Jeez.
One more zoom down and we'll stop because I've
Okay.
taken up the whole show. Zoom down where you're at right now because that will
Okay.
show you that the old Navy base.
Right here?
So that parking lot, that's what that is. That is the former Naval Station Hatteras, and it was a submarine listening post in the Cold War. Coast Guard took it over, and then they left there in the early 2000s. But what was left behind, it's a mess. That's pavement, that's oil, and that's diesel fuel. It's pipes, asbestos line pipes, all kinds of stuff that they have found there. Oh, that was when they were doing the power line restoration. You can see the
there's a truck.
telehandler. Yeah, you can see the telehandler from Cape Hatteras Electric Cooperative. There's a great video that guy shot that's actually up there. He's got on his social media. He pans around when he's at the top of the pole fixing the wire, and you can just see all that debris below him.
Right, because you
So,
can't
yeah.
just like get some school kids and some garbage bags and go pick this stuff up. This
No.
is hazardous.
No, the Army Corps of Engineers has already done one project. They've got contractors coming in already there. You can see actually some of those contractors and the Army Corps is there at that moment that was taken. They'll be out there pulling that contaminated soil out and all that old infrastructure out. They've already done it once, and they did it and thought, hey, we got a lot of it. No, you only got a fraction of what's in there. It's crazy what got left behind at that thing. And that's something we've been dealing with now for a couple of almost 2 years.
Yeah. Now I actually know where it is.
Yeah.
For our audio listeners, I'm sure that was all riveting.
Oh,
I'm
I
gonna
know.
put the links to the satellite in the comment or the description so
Yeah.
you can go play with it. I just called it a satellite. It's not satellite.
Right.
It is photography.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Sam. I mean, Jay
Yeah.
is right. You are our one-stop source, and we're lucky to have you because it is painting a picture for me quite literally and connecting dots.